We are now on the last Sunday of the cycle, and every last Sunday of the cycle, this is the 34th Sunday, we celebrate Christ the King. And if this is the last Sunday, the next Sunday will be we will enter into the new cycle, and we will be entering already into the Advent season. So this is the cycle in the church. It begins with the Advent season and ends with the celebration of Christ the King. So we have 3 cycles, and we are now on cycle C. In other words, the next Sunday will be cycle A, beginning with the Advent season. So each cycle is composed of around 34 Sundays. It starts with 4 Sundays or 5 Sundays during the Advent season. The cycle corresponds to the very life of Jesus himself. When during the Advent season, that is the season where we wait for his coming, and then Christmas season is the season of his coming, his birth. And after that, we have to wait for a while, and that is the ordinary time wherein you can see the vestment of the priest is green, new life in the church. And after that, Jesus has to fulfill he has to fulfill the reason why he came, and he dwelt within us, and that is we celebrate the Lenten season. After the Lenten season, we will celebrate the Easter season. After that season, the ordinary time, which the last Sunday we celebrate today, the 34th Sunday. So the cycle of the very life of Jesus. And it is repeated again and again, so that our life, we pattern our life to the very cycle of the very life of Jesus, so that we can join and we can not only appreciate, but we will be contaminated, will be affected by the very life of Jesus in the liturgical cycle of the church. So what is the challenge of our gospel today and our liturgy in the celebration of Christ the King? Now, you have to know that the Pope now is in Thailand, and I think he will be visiting Japan. In Thailand, they have king, and in Japan, they have an emperor. So kingdoms, in some other countries, we still have king, in Spain, or some other in Europe. So our idea of a king or an emperor is somebody who has power, who has authority. But what about Jesus? He is also called Christ the King. Our gospel today presents Jesus as he is nailed on the cross. He was dying. And yet, 3 times in the short text, reference is made to his kingship. How can he be a king when he is nailed on the cross? He has no authority. He has no power even to move his fingers. He was there hanging on the cross. Yet in today's gospel, we go back to this scenario of the story while he was hanging there on the cross. Yet we celebrate his proclamation as Christ the King. For indeed, this Jesus is a king. But how can that be? A king is someone who has power. Does Jesus have power? Does he have physical power? No, for he cannot even move his hand and feet. Does he have political power? He just admitted to Pontius Pilate that his kingdom is not of this world. So does he have financial power? Hardly, since he once said that he did not even own a stone to rest his head. Does he have military power? No, because although he could provide it with 12 legions of angels, he chooses to surrender to his enemies. Now, does he have social power, legislative power, executive power? Of course, no. more than a dying man can have when he is being executed by the greatest power on earth, the Roman Empire. So then, he is powerless. In a sense, he is powerless. He is totally powerless, at least in the sense that he chooses not to coerce anyone. Because when we speak about legislative power, political power, financial power, and all the powers, it connotes coercion, submission. Now, the power of Jesus is the power of love. He offered his love in total weakness. For love can never be forced a return of love. It can only offer itself and humbly hope to be loved and to be loved back in return. However, that offer of love is supremely powerful. And this is where the authority of Jesus is shown in that love. It has the power of seducing the universe. As Jesus once predicted, you remember this word, when I am lifted up from the earth, I will draw everyone to myself. Now, that is a power without coercion. Well, at this hour, Jesus is lifted up from the earth, hanging from the nails which fastened him to the cross. And if you are observant, already he wins the heart of the condemned man next to him. Already, as King of Hearts, he claims the heart of a condemned criminal as he claims our own by his heroic love. And that is power. Nothing is weaker than love. At the same time, nothing is stronger than love. For as Scripture says, love is as strong as death. Love is the royal, the kingly power that alone can conquer our hearts. Let's go back to the story of the gospel to prove that Jesus indeed has a power. So he was there hanging in between two criminals. The other one jeered at him. But the other one, he said, have no fear. He said, rebuking the other, he rebuked the other, and he said to him, he is not a criminal, pointing to Jesus, but we deserve our punishment. And that one, the other one who was also hanging with him, he said, Jesus, remember me when you are at your kingdom. And what was the answer of Jesus? He said, today you will be with me in paradise. And that is the power of love of Jesus. And that is the power of forgiveness. The power that contaminates the heart of this person who is a hardened criminal. As disciples of Jesus, we are called to imitate his way of proceeding. Violence and coercion can never be our weapon to conquer the world to God. Only love can do that. Love conquers all. A selfless, powerless love that is ready to spend itself to the last drop of blood for the beloved. That is the modus operandi of the Christians. Sacrificial, self-giving, and nothing else will do. And this is what is expected of us, of Jesus. We have to conquer our anger with love. We have to conquer somebody who is gossiping about us with love, with forgiveness, with understanding. And we should know that that power reflects the power of Jesus, the power of love. So indeed, we can say in our celebration today that Jesus is King. We can proclaim to all the world that indeed, Jesus is my King. He is my God, because He has shown us an example of what authority, what power is. And that power and authority can be shown in His love for us. He came to us so that we can recognize the presence of God, to bring us back to God as He brought the presence of God to all of us. So brothers and sisters, as we welcome the Advent season next Sunday, let us be reminded of that love that is present in our hearts. Let us be reminded that Jesus is indeed our King, and if He is our King, we follow Him, and we follow His teaching of love and forgiveness. Let us now profess our faith.